I want you to imagine with me for a second. Imagine if a giant hammock showed up in a park that you pass by every day. By giant, I'm talking 8 feet wide, 33 feet long, and suspended 36 inches from the ground. What if random swings of joy started to randomly appear all over our city, in the bright, beautiful places, as well as the dark and dirty ones? Anybody recognize this guy? What if right here in our own city, somebody went after a Guinness World Record to try to unicycle 160 kilometers in 6.5 hours to promote sustainability and fair trade? I'm asking you to think about these things because they're all projects that have won a grant from the Awesome Foundation. It doesn't sound like a real thing, does it? The Awesome Foundation. It's not something you generally see on a business card. Actually, a friend of mine went down to the States this summer to attend the Awesome Summit in Boston. He was stopped at the border because the crossing guard couldn't believe that that was a real thing. But it was real and it was awesome. So the Awesome Foundation started in Boston in August of 2009, and the big hammock was actually the first grant given. Since then, we're about 3 years later now in October 2012. There are 57 chapters in 11 countries worldwide, and 327 projects have been documented as being funded. And since I began designing this talk, I had to update this slide. We've got 2 new chapters and 5 more projects funded, so I had to add those on. I think that's great. So what is the Awesome Foundation? The goal of the Awesome Foundation is very simple. It's forwarding the interest of awesomeness in the universe $1,000 at a time. Each chapter is comprised of 10 self-organizing trustees who put in their own money. That comprises a monthly microgrant, $1,000. But what does this word mean, awesome? What does that word mean to you? It means something different to each of us. And what I think is awesome, you might think is awful. And these 2 words come from the same root, which is awe, a sense of awe. And I want you to think, when was the last time that you really felt awe towards someone or something? Except for today, because every speaker here today has been awe-inspiring, and they've left me some big boots to fill up here on the stage. But I thought about this, and the last time I could think of was when I was a little kid. It was the last time I felt that sense of awe, and I wanted that to change. That's why I joined with the Awesome Foundation. So I'll tell you a little bit about me. This is me when I was little with my mother. That's in Korea. That's where I was born. My family immigrated to Canada about 17 years ago, my parents and my sister and I. And I remember at the time, I was really dreading coming here. Not because Canada isn't an awesome place, but just because we had to uproot our lives and move to this place where I had no friends. I didn't speak the language. But once I got here, everything was so cool and new and awesome. But my life hasn't always been awesome. I am not the dean of awesome here in Kingston because everything is so cool for me. When I got to first year university, that's when my life sort of crumbled to pieces. I struggled with mental disorders that I didn't know then that I had. I was diagnosed years later with post-traumatic stress disorder, as well as depression. During that first year, a lot of my very close friends became suicidal. I lost family members to cancer. I think we all know what that feels like. And by the time that I dropped out of first year, I was barely functioning. I wasn't eating. I wasn't attending classes. I was failing them. And eventually, I had a falling out with my family as well. So I was effectively disowned over various differences, including religious ones. It was just a really hard time. And out on my own, I started not being able to make rent. So I started paying rent on credit. Then I maxed out my credit and went into collections. And I'm still dealing with a lot of the consequences of these things to this day. So we all have our own stories that shape our perceptions of the world. And what I think is awesome is something that's inspiring, something that ignites passion, and something that spreads moments of joy to others around you because you overflow with the sense of awe. And my passion in the Awesome Foundation is to catch these flashes of brilliance and these moments of joy and spread that feeling to others, because I think we've lost sense of it. In these days when the news is full of war and shooting sprees and natural disasters, it's so easy to lose sight of the things that give us hope and a sense of greater humanity. And I know I got to that point. I developed a fear of awesome. And to me, what that means is I felt like I wasn't awesome. I felt like my life definitely wasn't awesome. And I felt like that was going to be my life forever, that it was never going to change. And I was really afraid of that. And in order to be awesome, I think that one of the things is you have to be genuine. And that leaves you very vulnerable and exposed, kind of like being up here on stage in a very, very pink shirt. And there was this overwhelming fear of inadequacy, like I wasn't good enough. If I was naked for people to see, that they would think it wasn't enough. I was afraid of failure, and I was afraid of success. And one of the assumptions that fed this fear of failure was a sense of magnitude. The sense that whenever I looked at something that I wanted to do or wanted to be, it seemed so big, it seemed insurmountable. And what I've realized through the Awesome Foundation is that you don't have to take a giant leap of faith. You can take small steps and accumulate awesome. Now, what do I mean by accumulating awesome? I'd like to explain with a story. Many of you have probably heard this story. It's called One Grain of Rice. It's usually told in a math class. Now, in this story, there's a Raja who awards a simple village girl a wish during a time of famine for something that she did. And she asked for a single grain of rice. And when he says that reward isn't great enough, she says, well, let's start with one single grain of rice. And for every day that passes, we'll double the amount from the day before for 30 days. That doesn't seem like an unreasonable request, doesn't seem like that much rice, so he agrees. By the end of 30 days, she's accumulated over 1 billion grains of rice, and the Raja has none left in his storehouse. Now, to put this story sort of into perspective, Kingston's population was listed in 2011 as being just over 123,000. So using the accumulated awesome principle, we could blanket Kingston with moments of joy in just over half a month, 17 days. And this really captures what I'm after with the Awesome Foundation and what I've learned in order to be, or try to be, awesome. Because if I share that moment of joy with someone and I make them smile, we've doubled to 2. And then if the next day we both go out and make somebody else smile, we've doubled again to 4, and then again to 8, and again and again and again, until after 30 moments are shared, we've got over 1 billion moments of joy. And I think we're missing that in this world today. In order to be awesome, in order to share these moments of joy, in order to do all these things, I think that we need to have a pioneering spirit. I need to have a pioneering spirit. And what that means to me is not that I have to pack up my tools and go out into the woods and build a log cabin or grow a beard, which is good because I can't even grow a mustache for Movember. No, I think pioneers are people who are not satisfied with the status quo, and they don't care about comfort. And so they want to start out something new and blaze new trails, and that's what I feel I have to do. And in this quality, this pioneering spirit that I think really drives the Awesome Foundation, I see 3 qualities, which I'll call the 3 A's: audacity, agility, and ambition. Audacity is courage, it's conviction, it's the spine to be true to yourself and to chase your dreams in the face of your fears. It's what keeps you going when the odds are stacked against you and your circumstances are conspiring against you. Agility is the ability to be light on your feet, to roll with the punches, and to navigate your circumstances without falling down. It's what lets you take the skills that you've learned and adapt them to new situations, to tackle new obstacles. After our pitch party just this last Thursday, one of the audience members asked me what I do outside of the Awesome Foundation, what my job is. And he was really surprised to hear that I am a soldier. And I was thinking about that afterwards, and I thought, you know, it's really funny. He doesn't know what I did before I joined the Army. I was a musician and a fine arts theater student. And these skills all do translate. Ambition. Ambition is what keeps you from becoming comfortable or complacent. Ambition is not only the passion for what you do, it's the drive to keep doing it when the going gets tough. And you can't settle for anything less than your best. It's the 3 A's of the pioneering spirit. Now, how many of you have heard of the 1,000-hour principle, or this idea that you need to do something for, 10,000 hours 10,000 hours in order to become an expert at it. I imagine Deanna has played the violin for over 10,000 hours to give that performance that she gave this morning. It was outstanding. How many of you have been awesome for 10,000 hours in your life? I haven't. I don't think I've been awesome for 100 hours in my life. So why do I look at myself and expect me to be suddenly awesome? You don't. Aristotle has a great quote about excellence, and I've substituted in the word awesome. We are what we repeatedly do. Awesome, then, is not an act, but a habit. Awesome is a habit, not an act. Awesome isn't something that you do and then it's done and it's over. Awesome is something that you work towards. It's something that you accumulate. I consider myself extremely lucky to have been able to travel and have these experiences that make me realize just how lucky we are to have a lot of the things that we do. And it's stuff that's really simple, but it's stuff that would evoke that sense of awe from other people around the world. Stuff like, sidewalks, drinkable water, education, freedom of the press. We take these things for granted, but they're so awesome, and we lose sight of that. I consider myself extremely lucky to be surrounded with people who really exemplify, to me, audacity and agility and ambition, starting with my parents. We had a rough patch there, and it was tough to get over, but we've started repairing our relationships, and I've come to realize just how awesome it was that they left their really, really good jobs in Korea to immigrate to Canada so that my sister and I could have a better life. I have a friend who wants to leave school for a while and go work in Mongolia. He's never been to Mongolia. I have a friend who wants to leave, who's thinking about leaving a very successful career and taking his family to go try farming for a while. And then he wants to go to law school afterward. So there's so much awesome examples around us if we start paying attention. And this, what we're doing here right now, I think is incredibly awesome. I think it's incredibly inspiring. And I hope you're taking away that sense of awe from this event here today. And I hope that when you are faced with something of great magnitude, something that feels like it's impossible, you won't tell yourself that you're not good enough or that it's beyond you. I hope that you will stop and think and challenge your audacity and test your agility and feed your ambition. Thank you. You've all been awesome.